Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We will finalize our session. So I will share my screen again. Think if everybody can also mute their mics, will be great. Okay, here we go again. Wait, that's not where we were. We were somewhere. Yeah, not even there. Here, perhaps. Here. Yeah, here. Okay. Yeah. We've been saying a lot about creating conditions for uptake and how important it is. But yeah, we also want to go a little bit deeper and giving some examples or tips. If you're really interested and really want to have some good documentation, I've put the link here. I will click it because a few years ago, VLIR has made a nice brochure where you can find a lot of their ideas about why doing it, how doing it, and some examples. So yeah, that's a good resource if you have the time and energy to do that. One way of looking at this uptake and creating the conditions for uptake is there are things that you can do, let's say, directly as a higher education institution, where you are organizing activities that are aimed at having an impact in society. For example, you have your research results and you are going to translate them, make them available to a certain target group by going in direct discussion with them. Making it also probable that they will use it. So it's also thinking about what could be the barriers for people to use our new knowledge, and it can be many things. That can be just habits of doing things a certain way, not having the funding to make a change in the way you're doing things. If you're thinking about these kind of barriers and trying to take them away, that's already a very great way of creating conditions for uptake. You can be writing policy briefs, but again, if you write a policy brief at the end of your project, nobody at policy level has ever heard of you. They will very probably just, yeah, not make big use of it. But this is one of the ways. Organizing seminars in certain cases. It doesn't happen that often, but it can happen, having a spin-off or a kind of company, or let's say an incubator or any kind of things that will be making your results very tangible and very available to the community. So that's a direct way of working on this uptake. So more indirectly, it's about working with the right partners, and also thinking about how will you work with them. As a main principle, try to keep in mind, try to always have a kind of win-win cooperation. You need them, they have a lot to learn and to win from you, but it will be difficult to keep people together if they don't perceive this as very, very useful for themselves. I like this picture because you see a lot of people have come together and they've put their wheels there. If one turns the wheel, nothing is gonna move at all because it's all blocking it themselves. So it's not just about bringing people together, but it's also about thinking about a way it can really work. Involve them from the start, and only when there's a real implication. Translate your scientific knowledge to their level. Maybe they will be on an academic level, maybe not. Make sure that people can follow. And what is, I think, a challenge, but a main factor of success, it's at the bottom line there. Try to come to a shared understanding of facts. People may look at the situation or the challenges a completely different way than you do it from an academic perspective, and it needs some time and some discussion and listening to each other to get to that shared understanding and a shared attitude towards your challenge and motivation. One of the examples that apparently came out of evaluations that it works well. It's a good way to have a stakeholder strategy. One of the elements, at least, is have a stakeholder advisory board. So really looking at people that are in key positions for your challenge and bringing them together from time to time to share your progress with, to ask for feedback, also ask them to use their network to make things happen. Could be a really nice idea. Just to give a bit more of what you can do under creating conditions for uptake. There is more, of course, and it depends on what you have in mind and what you want to do. Okay, click. Then the second question in the module of what do they call it, strategy, project strategy, is about it's the where you have most space to work. What do you want to do and how? So this is the concrete things. And explain it, make sure it makes sense, that it's logical, that people can really follow. Okay, they're going to do that, 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 and that. Okay, and it's reasonable that this will lead to some results. Uh, what are the key deliverables? What do you want and expect to come out of it? Try to mention it there. So that already, it means you need to have your project in mind already. It doesn't need to be every detailed activity, definitely not, but the most important ones, the key deliverables, yes. And then you have double the space as the important question above. So if you want to go a bit in more detail about these conditions for uptake and the stakeholder management, use that space there because it's really important. And it also shows that you think it is important. Okay, I have here refers to slide 11. Slide 11 is about the 6 domains for VLIR OS at the lowest part of the theory of change. 6 types of activities if you want. And in the call, you also have this examples of the kind of activities that are there. You can have a look at that. But in the end, it is about the things that you want to do. Huh? Okay. The last module, organization. Who will be involved in the project? At this point, the main actors, the promoters, the co-promoters, and if you have some space, you can of course refer to other relevant actors. But really try to explain this and explain why you need these people, what they're really bringing to the project, what strengths every player has on both sides. You also have this Excel file, the Annex 1, and there they also ask in one case the function or the role of a certain person in the project, and there you can maybe go into a bit more detail because there the space is not limited. Huh? But here really focus on why you put these people together, why they're complementing each other, why they have an added value, if there is some interdisciplinarity, how you will learn from each other, that kind of thing. And also, I would always suggest don't present it as if one person is taking all the decisions or has all the responsibility. Try to make it a shared ownership. It works best. It also presents best. And I think if you have in mind to have some PECs in the project, I think you can also mention them here because very often they do a large part of the work. And it's good to explain what they will be doing because very often this is left a bit open. And then people don't understand, why do you really have this PhD? Well, let's say the largest part of the funding goes to their scholarships. Okay. Then this final question is an optional question if you want to go for this bonus of 20,000 euros. But I think maybe what we have been saying before, it would almost give you the feeling that you need to be a multi-stakeholder partnership. But I would only go for it if you have a very serious role and a very good relationship with a strong additional actor, and then explain this, how will you work together, and what will they be doing, what will they be contributing to your project. In a minute, I will talk a bit more about budget and what can be done and what cannot be done. it's good to keep in mind that the non-academic stakeholders, if they are involved in your project, they will not be sent a part of the budget to manage on their own. It will be the partner institution that will be contracted by VLIR. They will receive the budget and then pay for activities of the of this non-academic actor. Only, let's say, in the lines operational costs, means all kind of costs, consumer goods, transport costs, all these kind of things, but also service contracts. So in case that you need to pay for the time of these people, that's possible through service contracts. And scholarship costs, maybe not that relevant, but in case you would give a small local scholarship, for example, or even an international scholarship to a member of a non-academic actor, because it would greatly upgrade their skills and knowledge, that can happen. Okay, but they will not receive the budget directly. Then the last element is this Excel annex. Okay, some general information that you will need to put in the online tool anyway. Maybe a quick word about this CRS sector code. It may look a bit alien. It's a common reporting standard. So for any kind of project, there should be a code. And I put in the link. Yeah, we can have a look. It's in the online tool. And then you really get a long list of all kinds of things a project could be working on. You can use this, you can do a search on, let's say, the main terms of your project, and you will find the code. It's not that important, it's for VLIR just to, let's say, categorize the projects. And then the main SDG you're focusing on, and an additional SDG. Sometimes it can be more, but you only have place for these two. Okay, that's also for them to report further on. And then there's this second tab with the team members. As I said, now only the promoters and co-promoters. Maybe a good thing to mention, because if you look at the call, it says that a postdoctoral student can be a promoter, but for KU Leuven that is not the case. You need a professor, ZAP, who is appointed at least 10% at the university. So there we differ from the call with our own policy. You will see at the end of the team, the Excel list for team members, that they ask for CVs, and they prefer a link to the ORCID that a lot of researchers have. But if you don't have it, can be a link to an online CV, or even there is the opportunity, the option to upload a real CV. But they don't prefer that, but it's possible. Okay, just a little tip. Yeah, quickly some financial aspects, because it can be good to already start thinking about what you want to do, what you can do. The total budget, as we mentioned, 280 or 300,000 euros. There's an overhead foreseen, coordination costs. So let's say the direct cost budget will be these amounts that you see here. These coordination costs, it's good to know well in advance when you start working together. They're limited to 5% of the total amount on each site. So one in Flanders, one in the partner country. But it's good to have a look at the policy of your own institution. Very often there are rules about this. They expect perhaps 10% overhead on a project, but this is not possible for a VLIR project. It will be 5%. If your institution doesn't take this overhead, you can use it yourself. It's an amount that doesn't need to be, let's say, explained in the financial reporting. Can be very useful. Very good to keep in mind if you're thinking about what our budget look like, to try to stay below 25% of the total budget for personnel costs, both let's say staff at the university, as the service contracts that we've been talking about, as topping up for people involved that spend a lot of time on it. maximum 25% of the budget. It's called an indicative maximum because if you have 26%, your project is not illegible, but they look at it, yeah, they want to keep the balance and not have too much in personal cost. And the same goes for investments. So buying large equipment or really sustainable goods that have a higher price. These projects are not intended to be spent fully on equipment. That's the idea. So try to stay below the 25%. And a general rule, no personnel cost, no staff cost at the KU Leuven site. Very important to keep in mind. If you expected this, that's not possible. VLIR project budget looks like this. It has 5 types of budget lines. So the investment costs for equipment, operational costs, all kind of things that you need, transport, consumer goods, travels, service contracts, personnel costs, but again, not for KU Leuven members, scholarship costs, also not for KU Leuven members. So that's also always for team members from the partner countries. And the scholarship costs, they are about PEC scholarships or short stays in Belgium, or even a master scholarship is possible. Local scholarships are possible. It's good perhaps to give briefly the let's say ideal setup in the mind of VLIR UOS for PhD scholarships. What they hope for, it's not the only option, what they hope for is that a PhD scholar is someone who is a member of staff at the partner institution, is paid while he or she is working there, because these scholarships are sandwich scholarships. It means that over a course of 4 years, they spend a maximum of 24 months in Belgium. And I have to say again, KU Leuven, it is KU Leuven Association, so the same goes for the Universities of Applied Sciences and Arts. Going back to the PhD scholarship, so people will spend a maximum of 24 months in Belgium and have a scholarship when they are here. But VLIR UOS says, okay, the best way to show the engagement and the embeddedness of the scholar at their home institution is when they are a member of staff there, and when we can expect that after the 4 years after obtaining the PhD, they will stay there at the institution, become professor, and keep sharing their newly built expertise with the entire community in the partner. Okay, it is possible if it's not an option to have people as member of staff, it is possible to give a local scholarship as well. It's always important, even when a member of staff, that they get the time to do their research as well, and not overburdened with teaching or supervising students or any other kind of tasks, or that they need to take an additional job just to provide for their upkeep. So keep that in mind for PhD scholarships, as they're very often part of team projects. I've put a link here. It just goes to the VLIR UOS guidelines, financial guidelines, if you want to have a look more in detail. But so this budget is part of the next phase if you get selected for the second round. And then we are also there to provide a lot of support on building this budget and avoiding mistakes there. Then last point, the online tool. You have the link here. If you want access and you don't have it yet, you can contact one of us, one of the ICOs, and we can add you as a user. Just let's say, keep in mind, it's an online tool. You need to get to know it a little bit, and we will be working offline until we have a finalized version. But please don't wait for the last minutes, the last hour to upload. I mean, it's relatively simple now with the concept note. It's not that much, and there are not that many complicated Excel files or anything like that. But still, you don't want to. Also, if you're doing it from a partner country, you don't want to get caught in disruption of a connection. that's the kind of stress that you really want to avoid. Okay. And then in general, I think a very important piece of advice for everybody here, please contact us if you have, if, when you're here, I expect that you want to go for a proposal. Let us know. Contact the person that you saw there in the presentation for your country. Let them know you're working on something, with whom, what you have in mind, and ideally have a talk, have a meeting, a 1 hour meeting. It can help you so much doing it now, doing it very early, relatively early, with one of our team members. It will probably help you a lot, and avoid that you start on a certain assumption and then find out later, no, this isn't going to work, or we have a problem here. Okay. I think that's the most important advice that we can give you, to reach out as soon as possible. Yeah, we have room for questions, unless if everything has been solved in the chat. But still, it would be lovely to hear from anybody, because I've only been talking all the time. And then, of course, in the end, we will send the material at a presentation and an annotated version of the format, where you can have some additional explanations. We will do that. But for those people here who were not registered through the tool, so that means that you didn't get an email from me yesterday or today to confirm the session, then send us an email. Otherwise, you will not receive these resources. Okay, and then I will stop presenting and see if there are any questions or comments or things that were not clear. Yes, Christine, please.
Hi, Roland. Thank you very much for a very clear presentation. I have two very small practical questions, actually. One relates to the word count, and whether it also includes references. I can't see it on the platform, or is there a separate space to add references
We
in
won't
this
be adding
concept?
references here. We asked the
Ah,
same question to VLIR, so no references. You
so
don't have
we
the
don't
space.
need to.
There's no
Okay,
other option to put it. And yeah, they literally said, this is giving your story and selling your idea. It's not the idea to put the references. No.
okay. And then I was wondering whether it would be possible to quickly show the online platform and where to, because I don't see where to
Yeah,
add the
definitely. Lovely.
proposal, actually.
I can do that. But maybe, yeah, if you still need to be added as a user,
I
that's a
was
different
added, so
thing.
I can log in,
Yeah.
but I can't.
Okay.
I don't really see where to start a
Okay.
proposal.
Here we go. So VLIR's proposals, for us it looks like that at least. You will see, if you are added as a user, the calls, and then you click on the Team 2024 concept node.
So if I can just maybe interrupt, I don't
Yeah.
see the calls. I only have dossiers archive profile dashboard. So there's something not working, but we can figure it out later if it's only me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
we will have a look into that. And we have a colleague at VLIR who's always very quick to look into that, and you can look, let's say, behind the curtain of the tool. Then we will check that. Maybe it's something to do with that you have a history in Ghent or something. I don't know. Okay. So for other people, that's the way to do it. Just click there, um, give a title to your dossier. It could be the title of the project. It's not, let's say, the final title doesn't have to be, but make sure you can find it again, and it will appear in a list of dossiers. For example, if I, and then you can look. I made a test, and this is what it will kind of look like. Yeah, you will upload the answers to your questions here. And then maybe that's good to say, you can submit. When you submit, it goes to us, it goes to the ICOS, and we will have a look at it. Okay, is everything there? Is this proposal eligible? Are these promoters eligible? And we will do the final submission to VLIR UOS. Okay, so that's also a reason not to do it in the last 5 minutes, please. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I see another question. Professor Reis.
Yeah, hello. So thank you for the presentation. I just want to follow up on a side note. You mentioned local scholarship. So I'm working with somebody in Tanzania. The employer qualifies, will give time to work on the project. If you get awarded, the salary by the local entity is not enough to maintain actually the working environment, and the partner actually has to work often extra consulting jobs to even maintain the job. How do you suggest we could add a local scholarship into our proposal?
Yeah, that might be a difficult thing. Well, they have a contract. That means they do have a contract and get a salary.
Yeah.
If that is the case, the normal way to go would be having a topping up, which is allowed, but is not very usual for a PC scholarship. But it is in theory possible. I mean, you can correct me or interrupt me if you don't think so. Topping ups, they are, let's say, you can add on top of somebody's salary if and you need to defend it well, explain why it's needed. And I think what you say is true. And we also know that in a lot of cases, an assistant gets a very, very low salary, and it's very difficult to then spend your time on. You can go up to 40% of their gross salary, so that probably will not even be a very large amount, but it is an option that you do have.
Okay. And so this is for PhD students. That's with the
Normally the topping up is used for team members. For example, the coordinator that needs to spend a lot of time and needs to, let's say, for example, they will ask a colleague to give their courses or something like that, and you need to fix something, then that's possible. It's something to be discussed, and it really depends on the context. But explain it. I mean, not now, because not now you don't have to show your budget, but later on defend it. These kind of things are really good to, yeah. And in the past there was a question about explaining your budget and defending it, and then these are the kind of things that you can mention. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, let me see. Another hand. Yes, please, Damaso Kadenge, go ahead.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Hello.
So that I just want to be so sure that I've understood very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Not perfectly, but I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, maybe I will switch off my video. I want to be sure that I have understood very well. So in terms of the team, is it an expectation that we have to attach with the application CVs of the potential beneficiaries who are our staff, right? Who are meant to be PhD students? Do we have to attach the CVs of the individuals?
No, actually not. So the CVs that they're asking, actually only mandatory, let's say, for the promoters, but now they're only asking for promoter and co-promoter in the Annex 1 Excel, and only for them you will be providing a CV. So definitely not yet for anyone that would be a PC scholar later on. In the second round, it's possible that you will give a much more extensive list of team members, but even then the CV will not be mandatory, only for the promoter. Yeah. Does that help?
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. If there are no further questions, it was my pleasure. I wish you all the best, and please don't hesitate to contact us. The sooner the better. We will share the presentation very soon. We share a link to the recording. I can imagine that you would love to see this again. And then we're done. And thank you very much for joining. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ronald.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good day.
Thank
Bye.
you.